Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm.
So if you didn't know, I work as a therapist. I am a licensed professional counselor candidate, which means I'm finishing off like internship well, not even internship hours. I have to have so many work hours before I can file for full certification, but I work just like any other counselor. So I provide therapeutic services to people aside from writing books full time. So today was one of those days where I had quite a few cancellations this morning. So when I have cancellations, that is when I slip in extra writing time. So that is what I'm going to do. I have a client coming in at 11. It is currently 9:26. So I am going to take the time right now to finish up some paperwork for therapy things and also to do a little bit of writing, because that's what I like to do. When I have cancellations, if I can't slip somebody in for this job as a therapist, then I work on the other job as an author. So I am going to do a little bit of writing. That is what we're going to do until I have my next client. Today was not the best day to show you guys what kind of a day in my life looks like, because I had so many different cancellations today. So normally, let's just talk about a little normally what my schedule looks like. I usually work 9 to 4. I don't take a client after that so I can pick up my little guy in a more timely manner. So I usually work, I have a 9, 10, and 11 o'clock. I take noon to do a lot of my morning paperwork or do writing projects. And usually it's marketing. Usually at noon, I do all of my book marketing, or at least draft it all. And then I have a 1, 2, and a 3 o'clock. One day a week, I have an 8 o'clock in the morning. And I also have a 4 o'clock one day. But for the most part, I'm 9 to 4. But today I had so many cancellations. And so we had our staff meeting today. We do that every other week. Lunch provided. It is amazing. And so had staff meeting at noon today. And then I had my 1 o'clock, and then the rest of my day canceled. So I have extra time. I need to do some therapy paperwork. So I'm going to do some therapy things. And then I'm going to move into author work, and I'm going to sit down and do more writing before I have to move on to some errands this afternoon before I get thin. So that's what we're doing now. it is the next day. That is what a normal-ish day looks like for me. I did have some cancellations yesterday, so the schedule was just a little bit different, but that is typically what a Monday to Thursday looks like for me. Fridays start the same way. So it is 8 o'clock. I just got to work. I'm getting ready to start my morning writing sprints here in just a moment. But it is Friday, and on Fridays I work a half day. So I work to noon, and then after noon, sometimes I'll go out and work in a coffee shop or out about somewhere. And sometimes I just stay here to work because on Fridays I get to pick up my little guy from school. So I don't like to go too far or get too involved out and about. I like to use my time as wisely as I can. But on Fridays, I do get more writing time. So I am excited about that, to get a little bit more writing time into my day. But that's pretty much what a week in my life as a working mom looks like. So I'm gonna get ready to start morning writing sprints, and then I think we're gonna catch up at noon when things let up a little bit, and I will give you guys a final update with all of my thoughts. I changed my mind. We're gonna do final updates right now. Whew. Welcome. Was that corny? That was probably super corny. So my final thoughts. This is the least busiest I have ever been since I've started, since I left college and started working a full-time job. This is the least busy my schedule has been. So this has been super nice. You guys saw kind of how my day works. Again, I will put it up on my schedule. This is what Monday through Thursday typically looks like for me. If I have any cancellations, I take advantage of that time either to wrap up things therapy-wise. If I don't have things caught up, I'm usually caught up. Most of the time I prioritize writing. So if anyone cancels within my schedule, so those 9, 10, 11, those slots, if anybody cancels on me, I use that time to write. So I'll have an hour there. It's just bonus time, because other than that, I'm writing 8 to 9 in the morning, and then I'm doing evening writing sprints that usually start at about 9 o'clock and can go anywhere from 9 to 10:30, sometimes later, depending on what I am writing and where I am in the book at that time. Basically, between my two jobs, my work day every day starts at 8 and ends at about 10:30 consistently. That is kind of the work days I am using. Sometimes I take a lunch, but a lot of times I use lunch to do book marketing. So that is in there as well. That is usually what I am doing with my schedule. And as far as thoughts on how I manage to write and keep my family and everything, consistency is the largest factor for me as far as having a really good week and getting a lot done. The weeks where I can stick to this schedule and everything falls into place are the weeks that I get the most done. Also, the weeks where I have more cancellations, I get more writing done. That is obvious because I use that time for writing. I don't always have as much of a full day, depending on the phase I am in writing. Right now, I am between projects. I am between Snow at Sunset, which I just finished drafting and I'm getting ready to send to my editor, and starting my next book in a new series. So when I am between projects like that, the schedule is lighter because some of those writing times, I'm not doing writing related tasks, which are a little bit more involved. If they require a whole lot more of my brain and my creativity than just creating things for marketing purposes, or plotting and planning, or formatting the book and editing the book. Even writing takes a lot more of my focus. And so the weeks where I am not doing writing tasks, which are far and few in between, I'm actually getting ready to change some things in my schedule. or at least not change the schedule, but change the way I tackle things. We will talk about that going into 2026. But the weeks where I have less of that going on, I get a whole lot more done, and it doesn't feel, the weeks where I'm not writing don't feel as involved, if that makes any sense. Ultimately, if you are somebody who has been struggling to find writing time, or maybe you're a writer yourself and you would like to publish, maybe you've always wanted to publish a book, but you feel like you're too busy, I truly believe, and these are kind of hard words, I truly believe if you want something bad enough, you figure out a way to make it happen, because that is what I did. Yes, some of us are not able to make that happen. I also believe that too. Sometimes there are tasks that we have to do, but you'll find a way to chip away at things little by little, even if that means the only writing time you have is on the weekends, because some weeks are like that for me too, where I don't typically work a ton on the weekends. I don't usually do writing tasks. I only do marketing tasks on the weekends. I don't actively write most weekends unless I just have a pocket of time or want to. So there have been times in my life where the weekdays have been so busy with events that I have to sit down and I need to write on the weekends. Beyond my live stream at 8:30 on Patreon, I have to sit down on a Saturday afternoon and do like a couple hours of writing to make up for what I missed throughout the week. So it happens. If the only writing time you have is an hour on a Saturday, that is more writing time than what you currently have, if that makes sense. So I think we figure out how to make things work based on what we want for ourselves. I set up my therapy schedule. I could take more clients, but I don't, because I want to provide writing time for myself and a little bit more of a consistent schedule for writing. And eventually, as things grow, I plan to scale back even more and add more writing time to my daily life. So you have to make it work for yourself. You need to look at your schedule. Realistically, what's the time that you have available to you? I am a huge proponent of a time audit, where you literally sit down and document hour by hour the tasks that you are doing, the literal tasks you are doing on a piece of paper for a week. And this will tell you where all of your time lies. It will also tell you how you are misusing your time. And if you are a working person, it may even give you a hint as to tasks you can delegate. I do time audits pretty often, just because I think sometimes there are tasks in my writing life that I could pass off to my PA or somebody else, or maybe some of those tasks are not actually paying out the effort I'm putting in, and I need to change the task. So I am a huge proponent of that. So if you are getting started in this journey, I would do that first. I would see what is the time available to you, what makes the most sense for you writing wise. I like to write at night. That's also a personal choice. I could flip my day and I could do my evening writing sprints super early in the morning, but I choose not to, because I am a night owl and I would rather stay up than wake up. So a lot of it is personal choice and what works for you, and trying to keep your time consistent, being really intentional with your time. That is how I make it work for myself. I hope this was interesting. I have not done a sort of day in my lifestyle video in a very long time. Not since I've started this new job anyway, and my life looks quite different. So hopefully it was insightful and helpful. As far as tips and tricks for how to be an author as a mom, there's really not a whole lot of tips and tricks to it. I honestly think it is about the time available to you, accepting that some days you may be really tired. And as far as being a published author, you're not always going to feel inspired to write. It truly is a job. So there are definitely going to be days where you don't want to sit down and write. But if you don't sit down and write, you're not treating this as a career choice. You're not treating it as a job. You're treating it as a hobby. And I kind of think that's the biggest difference between career authors And like hobbyists, people who publish because it's fun, but aren't necessarily relying on the income or planning or like with a big goal to rely on the income, I think that's also perfectly fine. So I think that's the difference in this video and why I've made the choices I do. I think it's all about your goals. What do you want? And if you want to be a full-time author and you want to make it a full-time career the way I do, then you need to treat your time, your energy, and all of the tasks that you have for yourself as though it is a full-time career choice before it ever is. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for following along. Make sure to subscribe below. Check out Patreon because I post really cool content there. You can be a free member and you can get weekly updates about my projects and some little tidbits into what I am planning coming up before it ever goes public. And for paid members, we go live every single Sunday night for writing sprints where I give you guys an in-depth update live of my books and projects and sneak peeks throughout the week as I have them available into my current projects and future projects. I'm getting ready to release the title of my next new series next week. So if you're a $5 Patreon member, you are going to get the title of that and some sneaky peekies this week instead of next week. You get it early. So check that out. Links in the description box along with my social media accounts. I'm really active there as well. So that is all. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Leave your tips and tricks down below. Let's have a conversation. If you are an author, maybe you want to be an author, let me know in the comments. And that is all for this week. Read books, be kind. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.